Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Daily English Whisper. My name is Max, and I'm so happy you decided to spend part of your day with me. Before we begin, look around for just a moment. Maybe you are sitting in your bedroom. Maybe you are in the kitchen. Maybe you are near a window, listening with a cup of tea in your hands. Wherever you are, that place can become your English classroom. And today, it will. Our lesson is called Describe Your Home in English, Slow Listening, Vocabulary and Fluency. By the end of this episode, you will feel more comfortable talking about the place where you live. Not with difficult words, not with perfect grammar, but with simple, natural English that sounds real. Many learners can describe famous cities. They can talk about vacations. They can explain their favorite movie. But when someone asks a simple question like, "Tell me about your home," they suddenly stop. They know the answer. They see the rooms in their mind, but they cannot find the English words. If that has happened to you, do not worry. It happens to many people. Sometimes we spend so much time learning vocabulary from books that we forget to practice the language we actually use every day. The chair we sit on, the lamp we turn on at night, the hallway we walk through, the shelf where we keep old photographs. These ordinary things are part of our lives, and because they are familiar, they are perfect for practicing English. There is another common misunderstanding. Some people believe they need advanced vocabulary to sound fluent. But real fluency often comes from describing simple things clearly. If you can explain your home, your favorite room, your morning routine, or where you keep your shoes, you are already using practical English. Here is the big idea for today. The place you know best is the best place to practice. You do not need to imagine another country. You do not need expensive materials. You can learn by looking around you. Every wall, every table, every picture, every door. Everything around you can become part of your English journey. So let's slow down. Let's observe. And let's turn your own home into one of your greatest learning tools. Let me ask you a simple question. If someone visited your home today, could you describe it in English? Maybe you could. Maybe you would hesitate. Maybe you would point at things instead of naming them. That is completely normal. The good news is that describing your home is one of the easiest ways to improve both vocabulary and speaking, because you already know the place. You only need the English words. One excellent technique for learning those words is shadowing. Shadowing means listening carefully and repeating naturally. You hear the sentence, you copy the sounds, you copy the rhythm, and little by little, your brain begins connecting English to real objects around you. Let's practice together. Look around if you can. Then, listen. My living room gets a lot of natural light. Repeat. My living room gets a lot of natural light. Excellent. There is a wooden shelf next to the window. Repeat. There is a wooden shelf next to the window. Very good. The walls are painted a soft color. Repeat. The walls are painted a soft color. Wonderful. Now imagine walking through your home. You open a door. You notice a rug on the floor. You see a basket with blankets. Listen. I keep extra blankets in that basket. Repeat. I keep extra blankets in that basket. Excellent. The hallway feels quiet in the early morning. Repeat. The hallway feels quiet in the early morning. Very good. The reading chair is my favorite place to relax. Repeat. The reading chair is my favorite place to relax. Wonderful. Did you notice something? These sentences are not difficult, but they are meaningful. You can imagine them. You can connect them to your own life, and that makes them easier to remember. Maybe you did not understand every word. That is perfectly fine. Keep repeating. Keep listening. Keep building familiarity. Your goal today is not perfection. Your goal is to create a bridge between your home and your English. Every sentence you repeat makes that bridge stronger. Now, let's talk about the main question. How can describing your home help you become a more confident English speaker? At first, the answer may seem surprising. After all, your home does not change very often. You already know where everything is. But that is exactly why it is so useful. Because familiarity removes pressure. When you know the place well, your brain can focus on language instead of trying to invent ideas. Maybe you have said something like this before. I never know what to talk about. My vocabulary disappears when I need it. I understand English, but I can't explain simple things. These problems are very common, and one solution is to practice with what is already around you. Imagine walking from one room to another. You describe what you see. You describe where objects are. You describe colors. You describe sounds. You describe memories connected to those places. Suddenly, your home becomes full of speaking opportunities. Today we are going to explore several simple ways to describe your surroundings naturally. You will discover that even ordinary objects can help you build extraordinary confidence. A lamp can become a lesson. A staircase can become vocabulary practice. A balcony can become a speaking exercise. Even the little plant growing near your window can teach you new words. Before we continue, I have a small favor to ask. If this lesson is helping you see English in a new way, please give the video a like. And stay with me until the end. Some of the most useful description techniques are still waiting for us. For now, remember this. You do not need to travel somewhere exciting to improve your English. Sometimes the most powerful classroom is the place where you wake up every morning, and every object around you is quietly waiting to become part of your next conversation. Now let's begin with the first simple way to describe your home more naturally. Way number 1 is describe spaces before objects. Many learners immediately start naming things. Table, chair, window, lamp. Those words are useful, but conversations usually begin with the bigger picture. People often describe the room first. Then they talk about what is inside it. Imagine someone asks you about your apartment. You might say, "My apartment feels bright and peaceful." Repeat, "My apartment feels bright and peaceful." Excellent. Then you can add more details. The windows let in a lot of morning sunlight. Repeat, "The windows let in a lot of morning sunlight." Very good. Now imagine describing your bedroom. Instead of listing furniture, begin with the atmosphere. My bedroom is small, but it feels comfortable. Repeat, "My bedroom is small, but it feels comfortable." Wonderful. Then continue. There is a reading corner near the window. Repeat, "There is a reading corner near the window." Excellent. By describing the space first, your listener creates a picture in their mind. Then every object has a place inside that picture. Let's imagine another room. Perhaps you have a tiny workspace. You could say, "My desk faces the wall, and it helps me stay focused." Repeat, "My desk faces the wall, and it helps me stay focused." Very good. Or maybe you have a dining area. The table is where my family usually gathers. Repeat, "The table is where my family usually gathers." Excellent. Notice that you are not only naming objects, you are giving them meaning. You are connecting them to daily life. That is what makes descriptions interesting. Now let's continue with another habit. Way number 2 is explain why things matter. Every home contains memories. Every room has a purpose. Every object tells a small story. Imagine someone notices an old clock on your wall. Instead of saying, "It's a clock," you could explain, "My grandfather gave it to me many years ago." Repeat, "My grandfather gave it to me many years ago." Excellent. Or perhaps you have a comfortable chair. You say, "I always sit here when I want to think quietly." Repeat, "I always sit here when I want to think quietly." Very good. Now imagine a bookshelf. Instead of describing its size, you could say, "Most of my favorite memories are connected to these books." Repeat, "Most of my favorite memories are connected to these books." Wonderful. When you add personal meaning, your English becomes warmer. It becomes more human. People enjoy hearing stories, even small ones. And because the stories belong to you, they are easier to remember. Do not worry about using difficult vocabulary. Simple emotions are powerful. Simple memories are powerful. Simple descriptions create real communication. Now, let's continue with another useful way to describe your home. Way number 3 is compare different places. Comparisons make descriptions more interesting. They also help you practice natural English without sounding repetitive. Imagine you are talking about your kitchen. You could say, "The kitchen is brighter than the hallway." Repeat, "The kitchen is brighter than the hallway." Excellent. Or maybe, "The guest room is quieter than my office." Repeat, "The guest room is quieter than my office." Very good. These simple comparisons help listeners understand your home more clearly. Now, imagine talking about different times of day. You might say, "The balcony is my favorite place in the evening." Repeat, "The balcony is my favorite place in the evening." Excellent. Or, "The living room feels warmer during the afternoon." Repeat, "The living room feels warmer during the afternoon." Wonderful. Comparisons also allow you to describe change. Perhaps your neighborhood is different now. You could say, "The street is much busier than it used to be." Repeat, "The street is much busier than it used to be." Very good. Little by little, these sentences make your descriptions more detailed without becoming complicated. Now let's explore another habit. Way number 4 is use your 5 senses. Most learners only describe what they see, but real descriptions include sounds, smells, textures, and feelings too. Imagine entering your kitchen early in the morning. You could say, "The smell of fresh bread fills the room." Repeat, "The smell of fresh bread fills the room." Excellent. Perhaps you walk into your study. "The wooden floor creaks when I walk across it." Repeat, "The wooden floor creaks when I walk across it." Very good. Maybe you touch a blanket. "This blanket feels incredibly soft." Repeat, "This blanket feels incredibly soft." Wonderful. Or perhaps you open a window after the rain. "The air smells clean after the storm." Repeat, "The air smells clean after the storm." Excellent. When you include the senses, your listener experiences the place with you, and your vocabulary grows naturally. Not through memorization, but through experience. That is one of the easiest ways to make English feel alive. Now let's continue with another powerful way to improve your descriptions. Way number 5 is tell tiny stories about everyday objects. Sometimes the object itself is not interesting, but the story behind it is. Imagine someone notices an empty jar on your shelf. Instead of saying, "It's just a jar," you smile and explain, "I collect coins from places I've visited." Repeat, "I collect coins from places I've visited." Excellent. Maybe someone asks about a painting. You answer, My sister made it for my birthday. Repeat. My sister made it for my birthday. Very good. Or perhaps there is an old umbrella by the door. You say, I keep it because it has never failed me. Repeat. I keep it because it has never failed me. Wonderful. These little stories make your English memorable. They also make conversations easier because people often ask follow-up questions, and that creates more speaking opportunities. Imagine someone responds, Really? Where did you get it? Now the dialogue continues naturally. One simple object has created an entire conversation. Before we continue, I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me which place in your home you would enjoy describing the most. Maybe your bedroom, maybe your kitchen, maybe a balcony filled with plants, or perhaps a quiet corner where you like to read. Share your answer below, and stay with me until the end. The final habit will show you how to transform your own home into a place where English becomes part of your daily life without adding extra study time. For now, remember this. You do not need an extraordinary house to tell an interesting story. You only need to notice the little details that already surround you. And every detail you describe brings your English one step closer to becoming natural, confident, and truly your own. Now let's discover the final way to make your home part of your English journey. Way number 6 is walk through your home like a storyteller. Many people walk from room to room without paying attention. They know where everything is. They stop noticing the details. But today, I want you to slow down. Imagine you are giving a friend a tour. You open the front door and smile. You say, Welcome. Let me show you around. Repeat. Welcome. Let me show you around. Excellent. Then you step inside. This is where I usually leave my shoes. Repeat. This is where I usually leave my shoes. Very good. You walk a little farther. The first thing people notice is the large window. Repeat. The first thing people notice is the large window. Wonderful. Now, imagine leading someone into another room. You point to a comfortable chair. I like sitting here when it rains. Repeat. I like sitting here when it rains. Excellent. Suddenly, your home is no longer just a place where you live. It becomes a story. Every object has a reason. Every corner has a memory. Every room has its own personality. That makes speaking easier because you are describing something meaningful. Now let's make this even simpler by creating very small daily habits. One habit is choosing one object every morning. Just one. Maybe today it is your lamp. Tomorrow it is your mirror. The next day it is your bookshelf. Stand in front of it and describe it with 3 sentences. The lamp gives a warm light in the evening. Repeat. The lamp gives a warm light in the evening. Excellent. I bought it during a weekend trip. Repeat. I bought it during a weekend trip. Very good. It makes the room feel more relaxing. Repeat. It makes the room feel more relaxing. Wonderful. 3 simple sentences. One object, every day. That is enough. Another tiny habit is changing your perspective. Instead of describing what something looks like, describe how you use it. This little table holds my morning notebook. Repeat. This little table holds my morning notebook. Excellent. The basket keeps everything organized. Repeat. The basket keeps everything organized. Very good. The focus moves from appearance to purpose, and that makes your English sound more natural. Let's continue building this descriptive habit, because the smallest observations often become the most memorable sentences. Another useful microhabit is describing your home at different times of the day. Your living room in the morning is not the same as your living room at night. The kitchen feels different before breakfast than after dinner. Even the sounds change. Imagine the early morning. The sunlight slowly reaches the floor. You say, "The room feels peaceful before everyone wakes up." Repeat. The room feels peaceful before everyone wakes up. Excellent. Now imagine the evening. The lights are on. Music is playing softly. You say, "Everything feels calmer after sunset." Repeat. Everything feels calmer after sunset. Very good. By describing change, you naturally practice new vocabulary and verb forms. Another beautiful habit is describing small routines connected to your home. Perhaps every afternoon you water your plants. You could say, "I always check the plants before I make tea." Repeat. I always check the plants before I make tea. Excellent. Maybe every evening you organize your desk. You say, "I like starting tomorrow with a tidy workspace." Repeat. I like starting tomorrow with a tidy workspace. Wonderful. These little routines create authentic English because they come from your own life. There is another exercise I especially enjoy. Pretend your home has a personality. Imagine your kitchen could speak. Maybe it would say, "I'm always busy in the morning." Repeat. I'm always busy in the morning. Very good. Perhaps your favorite chair would say, "Someone always comes back to me with a good book." Repeat. Someone always comes back to me with a good book. Excellent. This playful exercise helps you think creatively. It also makes vocabulary easier to remember because imagination strengthens memory. And finally, never forget to appreciate the little details. The sound of the floor, the color of the curtains, the shadow on the wall, the smell after opening a window. All of these moments become opportunities to speak. One sentence at a time, one observation at a time. As we come to the end of today's lesson, take one more look around your home. Perhaps you notice something you had not noticed before. Perhaps you see an old photograph, a favorite mug, a blanket folded on the sofa, a tiny plant growing near the window. These simple things have always been part of your life. Now they can become part of your English too. Today we learned that describing your home is much more than learning vocabulary. We learned to describe spaces before objects. We learned to explain why things matter. We compared rooms and places. We used our senses. We told little stories. And finally, we turned our homes into places filled with conversation and meaning. All of these ideas connect to one simple message. Here is today's secret sentence. The best place to practice English might already be around you. Repeat. The best place to practice English might already be around you. One more time. The best place to practice English might already be around you. Beautiful. Tomorrow morning, before leaving your room, choose one object and describe it. At lunch, describe another. Before going to bed, describe one more. Maybe you tell yourself, "The curtains move gently when the window is open." Repeat. The curtains move gently when the window is open. Or perhaps, "This hallway reminds me of my childhood." Repeat. This hallway reminds me of my childhood. Very good. Little by little, these descriptions become habits, and those habits become fluency. Remember this. You do not need a perfect home. You do not need expensive furniture. You do not need beautiful decorations. You only need curiosity. You only need observation. And you only need the courage to speak. Because fluency is not created by memorizing endless word lists. It is created by using simple English to describe the world you already know. Your home is full of stories. Your home is full of memories. Your home is full of vocabulary waiting to be discovered. And every time you describe it, you strengthen your confidence. You strengthen your listening. You strengthen your speaking. Most importantly, you strengthen your belief that English belongs in your everyday life. Thank you for spending this time with me. If today's lesson inspired you, subscribe and continue learning with Daily English Whisper. There are many more listening practices, conversations, and shadowing lessons waiting for you. And before we say goodbye, I want to remind you of something. I am proud of your effort. Every sentence you repeat today becomes another brick in the strong foundation you are building. My name is Max. Thank you for joining me here on Daily English Whisper. Take care of yourself. Look around with fresh eyes. Keep describing. Keep listening. Keep speaking.